So today we're talking about. So we interviewed a couple of other people, mostly family members. Um, but the questions we asked were, what came to mind when you think about steroids? What are your opinions of steroids? And are they good? Do you think they're good or bad? And then, do you think they could, if they are bad, do you think they could be used for something good?
hmm Yeah, so basically we just asked for their opinions on steroids.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I don't mind going first.
Okay, go
Uh,
ahead.
so I interviewed my brother. He's 14. And the first thing that I asked him was, what comes to mind when you think of steroids? The first thing that he said was bodybuilders. He said overall, whenever he thinks of steroids, he pictures like people who go to the gym and want to become stronger. So that's pretty common. And then I asked him, is there anything else that comes to mind? Anything else you can relate steroids to? And he said, not really. Um, the only thing that comes to mind is bodybuilders. And so then I asked him, do you think they're good or bad? And he said that he thought they were bad. Um, and I asked him if they were good. Oh, no, sorry. And then he said, if they were good, everybody would use them. I'm like, oh, okay, that sounds fair. Um, and I asked him if he thought that steroids could ever be used for something good. And he said, the only thing that he said was that probably only to look better and physically be stronger. So that's what my brother said.
Okay.
Um, we can take turns. Somebody else could go.
I'll
I
go.
think.
So, my dad went very much along the lines of your brother. Yeah. So whenever he thought of steroids, he just thought of like big muscly men. His opinion was like, so back when he was a kid, when steroids were first coming around, like they weren't good or bad, and then like people started, I don't know, coming to their sense. I don't remember exactly what he said, but then they became viewed as bad. And then he said, let's see, if they could be used for something good, yes, that's all I said. But yeah, I wrote down notes. Anyways, Marcel.
Okay. First person I interviewed was my littlest brother, my youngest brother,
Mm-hmm.
who's 14. And when I asked him what comes to your mind when you think about steroids, the first thing he said was just like big muscles, and which assumed is related to like bodybuilding and athletes and stuff like that. And then I asked him if he thought anything else, and he said it's a drug, which he's right. And I'm glad that he knows that. And then when I asked his opinion, he said they're bad and you shouldn't take them.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of answered the next question. Do you think they're good or bad? He said bad. And when I asked him, do you think they could be used for good? He said, yeah, like super soldiers, which I agreed with. And that's something we've talked about.
Yep.
I was surprised that he was like able to think of that, because he actually he thought of like Captain America.
Oh yeah, there you go.
That scene
That's sick.
when he
Yeah.
transformed.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was his take on that.
Oh, my dad actually said helping with muscle atrophy.
Mm.
So helping to regain muscles after that.
Good.
Yeah. Diego,
Okay.
you're up again?
Yep. So the last person and second person I interviewed was my mom, and she said that usually she thinks of teenagers who take steroids. When I asked her what comes to mind when I talk about steroids, she just thought like teenagers who inject themselves.
Okay.
And she thought it was bad too. And then I asked her if she ever thought that they could be used for something good. And she said, yeah. One time when I think she was like around my age, she said that one of the doctors gave her some steroids to treat her pneumonia. And she said that she wasn't 100% sure if it was steroids, so I looked it up, and it said that corticosteroids do have been found to be beneficial in the treatment of infections from pneumonia. So I think she was right.
Yeah.
So my mom didn't say that they were all bad. She did have some knowledge about, corticosteroids as well.
Yeah.
So it's kind of what my mom said.
Similarly, my mom was very much so what she thought about steroids, people abusing it for muscles or when medically necessary for some issues. Her opinion of them as far as good or bad. The muscle building ones are bad, but the ones used to fight infections are good. So she had some prior knowledge to this, which totally spoiled me asking the questions. But yeah, and so that's why I wrote yes, because could they be used for something good? Well, yes, I've already answered that. Yeah.
It's good. The second person I asked was my second youngest brother, and when I went up to him and asked him what comes to your mind when you think about steroids, the first thing he said was yummy, which I don't think that's a valid answer, but
Okay.
yeah.
Wait, how old is your brother?
He's 16.
Yeah,
How the hell? What?
that sounds like Joey.
Yeah, he was just joking.
That?
Yeah, and then he said
I'm speechless.
his real answer was they make you bigger, and which is a valid answer, better than the first one. And then when I asked him what's your opinion on steroids, he said just don't do them, just flat out don't do them. And so that implies
But he said they were yummy.
Yeah, I know.
Oh my God.
And then when I asked him if they could be used for good, he said yes, they can be used for medication, which I was surprised that he knew that, because I don't know, like my first brother, he only thought about
Super soldiers.
he only thought about the anabolic steroids and not corticosteroids. He didn't know about that. Joey's
Well, I mean, he is in health sciences.
Yeah, he's taken some classes, so he knows a little bit about that. And then should I go on to the third person I asked?
Go ahead.
Yeah, because I only asked two.
Yeah, I only asked two as well.
Yeah, and so the last person I asked was my mom, and first thing that came to her mind when she thinks of steroids is like the abuse by lifters and athletes over the years. And she says that they're harmful when abused, but she said they're life-saving when they're properly like dispensed by a doctor, which I agree with.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when I asked her, do you think they're good or bad? She said in general, no. But then when I asked her if you think they could be used for good, she said like definitely, because both her parents, like my grandparents, they're both using corticosteroids. Like my grandpa, he uses corticosteroids to like suppress his asthma.
Yeah.
And like keep that controlled. And then my grandma uses them to like preserve her eyesight, which I had no idea that was
Has she had eye surgery? No.
I think she has, but like it's like going away.
Interesting.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, so I think she was like more knowledgeable about it just because she's older than my brothers, and she saw like both the good and the bad. They all saw something that they could be used for good, but
yeah. I think overall it's just surprising like how much people might actually know about steroids. Like other than just the bodybuilding part.
Yeah, it seems like the younger people, like our brothers, they kind of just generalize steroids with bodybuilders, but then like our older people, like our moms, they kind of had more knowledge about them.
Yeah, it was always the moms that had more knowledge.
Yeah.
It's pretty weird.
Yeah. Do you know what time we're at?
We're at about 10 minutes.
Okay.
Which I
I was
mean
gonna
is
say
Um,
that I hope that our wiki page can like help people get more knowledge so that they
yeah,
can
I
oh
agree.
yeah.
tell the difference between anabolic steroids and corticosteroids, and that it's not all bad, that both kinds can be used for good and not just misused.
Yeah, but the thing is that as with everything, they all have their ridiculously horrible side
Yep,
effects.
that's true. More
Mhm.
research is needed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Mhm.
Um,
Oh, like, were you guys surprised at like the results that you got from the people you asked?
I was surprised that my mom knew that much, but then now that I think about it, I'm not at all surprised.
yeah, I wasn't surprised with Santi because I knew he was gonna say that, but my mom, I was expecting her to know more, but at the same time, she like knew a lot, so I was kind of surprised about that. I was like, "Whoa, cool." And I was also surprised that she said that she thought she had some corticosteroids when she was earlier, when she was younger. I mean, so that was cool.
Mm-hmm. I think I was a little bit surprised about how much both my brothers knew,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
I wasn't surprised that my mom knew that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm not surprised that one of your brothers said that they were yummy.
Yeah, because when I
Um,
asked it, he was playing a video game, so he was too focused on that.
yeah.
Mm.
Was he editing? Was he
Maybe.
cranking 90s?
Maybe.
We want to end it here.
Um,
We can
I
end it
mean,
here.
we can. What do you think, Marcel?
Sure. Yeah. We're
Okay,
done
cool.
covering that.